Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing?
Good.
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, can't complain. Lovely sunny day out here. We trained on the track today, so I didn't have to listen to Katie whinging about the hills. I did notice though, obviously I know in hindsight now, she was messaged in the group. We were doing K, so 2.5 laps of the track. And at one point I was looking across and thinking, she's taking quite a long time for her recovery here. And that's when she was obviously messaging into the group. So yeah. But how's everybody else's week going? Or how's everyone's training month gone? How does someone want to sum up their month? Let's go with Penny, since you're the woman of the hour. How's your month been?
I think it's gone pretty well. I mean, I've had I think more good runs than bad runs.
Definitely.
I wasn't looking forward to the 4-minute tempo run last week at all. But actually, once I got out there and got it done and like got my head together, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was hard work. I managed to do the 40 minutes, but that was my limit. I really enjoy the intervals, I think, because there's something different every week. I mean, even like the hill sprints, you know, they were tough, but I got them done. So that's you know, the speed work I really like because it's over really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm tired this week. I've known, you know, my watch is telling me that my heart rate variability is not balanced this week, and that it's recommending I get some rest.
So that extra rest day is being counted out by the excitement of the ballot place today, isn't it?
Oh my God, I've been on a ballot high all day. Can't believe it.
Yeah. Fantastic news. One person in the whole hub.
I feel so ashamed.
Oh no, you shouldn't. No, that's absolutely.
Everyone's chuffy, Penny, honestly.
Yes. Well done.
Just glad we've got one person who got it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be quite interesting. So the way they've done it this year, Good for Age window doesn't close till the end of September. So in October, I assume we'll get a whole load of, I'm in for Good for Age. So it'll be interesting. Whereas normally it's all about the same time. So now enjoy it. So we've just put a post up. We've got 3 people in the Running Hub team so far.
I think I'm going to, even though I've got like a ballot place, I think I'm going to run for a charity because, you know, my husband's got Parkinson's. So I think I'm going to run for the Parkinson's charity because they'll give me a vest. I can have you go out for a day's training with a physio and a nutritionist. And I can raise some money, but there's no obligation.
There's no pressure, is there? That's the main thing.
I will. I thought, you know, I will, because I didn't, when I ran last time, I ran for a city livery company, raising money for children in the City of London. So I thought I'd run for Parkinson's this time.
Yeah, that's brilliant. When I done London, I had my own place, but then did it for charity. So same as you, you can do it. You can get the sense of achievement that you help someone, but without the pressure of I must get this or I must.
And I think that's the biggest reason why most of us all go for the ballots, because actually you could try and apply if we really wanted to a charity place, but I don't want the pressure and the stress of we've got to raise 1,500, 2,000 plus £3,000 it might even be now for a place. I've got too much to go on to try and have that pressure on, and it's not easy to raise money in this day and age.
So I got Berlin on ballot, and I thought, okay, that's brilliant. I'm in. Maybe I'll try and raise some money. So yeah, I raised a couple of grand. But it was, as you say, it was the fact that it wasn't like, shit, I've got to raise another 500 quid, or it was a case of people can pay me what they want to pay me, and if it ends up £100, it's £100. If it's 1,000, if it's
absolutely. And there's afterwards they've got a buffet for you afterwards and massage and stuff if you're one of their team. So
that's worth it.
Win-win.
Massage post-marathon sounds horrendous.
Yeah, I suppose one of the other hard things with charity is actually all of us will tend to be pooling to the same people. So for example, if there was 8 people in the Running Hub all do it for charity, everyone's like, well, who do I donate to? And that ends up being no one. Or like in Milton Keynes, like you end up, all the Redway runners are pooling to the same 1,000 people or whatever. And it's not as unique, but fantastic, Penny, you should be good. And I think you have had a fantastic month, and I think the only takeaway for you and for other people to learn especially as well is have a little faith, definitely, because every time you've had a wobble or worried about something, you've been able to do it. So it's only been yourself that's maybe thought it was harder. And absolutely, we spoke about this before. Remember the purpose of each run. And actually, if it is really hot or really humid, what's 10 seconds a mile count? Nothing. Like, we just need to hit those boxes. So yeah, no, I'd say fantastic month, and enjoy the extra day off this week and get some sleep, and hopefully the Garmin will be agreeing with you.
I watched yours and Katie's video yesterday about preparing for a long run, about what to eat and drink the day before and rest and everything. So I'm sorted tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to Saturday now. Now I've kind of got this ballot place. I'm like buzzing for it.
Well, I'll tell you what, 5K is a lot shorter than a marathon.
Yeah.
But it's just as hard if you really go for it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a different hard, isn't it? That's for sure. But enough about 5K, because we will talk about that quite a lot today. Who else would like to, before I pick on someone, who'd like to have a little brief talk about their month, how they're feeling, how they're going? John, you're buzzing. You go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's been it's been good. I had a wobble, but I've just started a new job as well, which has been quite stressful. So I think mentally that impacted it. So we obviously had a chat about when I said I was struggling to hit my paces, and then kind of essentially turned the watch back so I couldn't look at it, and then somehow ran faster for longer the next session. So it's up there rather than in the legs, I think. But yeah. So I mean, I'm hitting most of my sessions. I'm enjoying stroke enduring. But yeah, actually, it's quite nice doing sprints again, and because for the last couple of years I've not really fostered my speed work. I've just kind of worked long and endurance. So actually, to hit some hard paces and see that that mile per minute showing a quite a quick time is quite nice.
Yeah,
seeing times that I haven't run for many years and thinking, oh, okay, yeah, yes, I'm not doing them over 5K, but even hitting a mile at certain paces, you think, yeah, okay. I mean, they burn. They still absolutely make me want to scream from my calves, but then again, they did back then when I could run them for a number of miles.
Yeah, I think what's really important when we're doing the speed work, especially with the stuff like we're doing a bit of tempo and then the shorter bits afterwards, well, speed work is great and it's good to see the numbers, but the benefits of speed work, which you can take into half marathons or marathons later on down the line, it's not necessarily just about speed. It's about the movement, the economy, the biomechanics, all that sort of stuff that you're teaching yourself, and the neuromuscular skills, which are really good.
And to be honest, that's something I'm noticing, that through going through the strides and things, I've noticed even when I'm hitting longer, maybe tempo runs, I'm a lot more conscious of even like not trying to push myself, but trying to almost slow my body down, but in that correct movement. And I feel like I'm doing the same pace. And I guess you see it with the faster runners we see when you see people who run things a minute a mile, 2 minutes a mile, almost quicker than you, and you think they don't look that much quicker, but it's because of that, as you say, it's the kind of engineering of how their body's working. They're not ticking over any faster particularly, but they're working in a more efficient way. And
I think a really good way to sort of sum that up is when you get to the tempo runs and they start getting to the tough part, the natural instinct is to almost tense up and try and force your body through, but actually it's about relaxing and letting your stride do the work. Obviously you have to
and that's what we're trying to do.
Rather than
just kind of almost float a little bit.
Exactly that. And similar to Penny, like, not that confidence is your issue, but I think there was a point where we were getting hung up on numbers a little bit, and actually the second we took the numbers away from it and remember what the emphasis was, boom, great session. And I think, that's not just you and Penny who spoke about. Everyone does that. Me and Kate were having this conversation last week about different clients. I can talk to anybody about a race plan and a session or whatever, and they'll come back to me with numbers, and I'll be like, whoa, I've not said a number once in this conversation. I mean, yes, there are times where specifically we're going to talk about paces, but a lot of the time we get hung up on these numbers, which essentially mean nothing. Like the tempo, if we're 10 seconds slow, but it's a bit humid, is the training emphasis there? Absolutely. And the speed work, I'll be working hard for 45 seconds, whatever it may be. Yes, doesn't matter what pace it is. That's all we really want. But no, you've had another good month.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's good. It's going all right. It'll be interesting to see how I do Saturday.
You weren't at the call yesterday, but I've actually noted down, and Katie's seen them, my predictions for all of you. So I might share.
I want to know what these predictions are.
No, because that will get numbers in your head.
No. Are you assuming denim for me there? Because obviously, if I end up going so slower, there will be a.
Denham on a still day.
Yeah, that's my hope. Let's just see. If it's not that great, I'll do Buckingham, which I can still do pretty quick.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
But it's a bit more hill.
Brilliant. Hayley, would you like to talk us through your month and your comeback?
Yeah, I'm coming back slowly, which is really good. I found today hard. I don't know if it's because I was out on Tuesday and I've had one day in between in the heat. I went out about 9:30 because I wasn't working today, so it was quite warm. So I don't know if a bit of that played, but yeah, I'm enjoying being back. Sorry?
Did you see my comments back to your session today?
Yes, I did. I had a look at your comments. Yeah. And it's interesting because on my workout on my Garmin, I have it so that I only see the time. So I only say I've got 5 minutes now running, so I see it go 5 and then counting down. I don't see the numbers, but I am still quite hooked on numbers. So when I look back, my fast pace is only 7:30. And I just laugh when I see everyone else's pace on there. It's crazy. Unless when I was on form before, I did get a 5K at 6:50, I think. But yeah, I felt like I was going slow today, and I thought, how much slower can I actually go? Because I felt like I was just plodding, but it felt so hard.
Yeah, I think the last couple of educational posts we put on the Running Hub, the one about time and patience and the one about slowing down, have a little read of them.
Yeah, I did.
I promise you, they do make sense. If I put it into relative terms, out here, obviously it's a bit hillier. So my easy runs, I've got to be easy effort. My easy run pace in Cyprus was 7:30, 7:40. Out here, my easy run pace is 9:30, 9:40. However, we've been out here almost 3 weeks and I feel considerably fitter already because I'm still hitting the emphasis of easy. And when I'm doing my sessions, when we go to the track or the flat or whatever, I'm still hitting what I need to hit there. So actually, by stepping back, I feel quite recovered, but I feel aerobically so much stronger and fitter. So just have faith. And I know I really do understand that when I'm telling you or someone's telling you, slow down, speed up, you're thinking, nah, that's rubbish, it doesn't work. But have patience with it. And especially with where you are at the moment from not being able to run from your ankles, what we don't want to do is rush things through, stall, go back to week 1. Whereas actually, if we can do 2, 3, 4 weeks consistently, by doing these right things right, all of a sudden we'll move on. We'll be a couple of months down the line, you'll be flying and you would have totally forgotten about this. But actually, just by not ticking the boxes, going a little too fast, a little bit too hard, trying to be a bit greedy, which is natural, it doesn't actually help. It just slows things down. It's better that you slow down than it's forced to slow down.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, definitely.
But fantastic, and the energy's there and the spirit's good. So good, thumbs up. I realized I was using my hands for some motions there and you couldn't actually see them. Cool. Right, Mel, Julia or Tamara, who wants to go?
Shall I go? Okay. So it's all been very new, hasn't it, for me? I didn't been a huge learning curve, but I don't want to say I know what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm certainly a bit more knowledgeable than whenever I started 4 or 6 weeks ago. And then when I was just taking myself out, didn't have a clue about paces, never done intervals and never done tempo runs, just ran at one tempo. So yeah, huge learning curve. Hope I'm doing it right. I think I am.
Definitely, yeah.
So even setting my watch, like, I don't know, that's a bit difficult. Those ones under a minute, I've got Apple Watch, it doesn't record those. So that was, but I did do them. I was it. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I'll be quite interested doing my 5K on Saturday, see how I do on that. But yeah, it's all been good. Really give me this sort of, I think I was in a bit of a rut doing my own thing and not that, and of course not knowing what I'm doing. It's given me a new interest, kept the interest there, kept it alive a little bit. Well, a lot actually. Yeah, I enjoy going out, doing different things, and doing a nice easy long run is nice on a Sunday. I've been enjoying that. But everyone talking about park runs, I've never done a park run, so I won't be doing that. I'll just be going doing one of my normal 5K routes that I do on a Saturday. That's fine. Or whatever. So yeah.
Cool. Now you've took to it really well. I think it was really good how you were asking questions to start with. And there's not been so many questions now, so I'm assuming you understand what's going on.
I thought you'd probably have the earache actually if I ask you anymore.
No, you're absolutely fine. But you're seeing the rewards in it. Like I think it was 2 weeks ago, you put about how your long run pace generally was the same throughout the whole long run, but the last 5K wasn't a case of hanging on. You were steady, you were feeling good, you know, your body's still strong. And, you know, these are, sometimes it's not necessarily the 5Ks that we do and we get a PB or something like that. It's these light bulb moments when we're having an easy run and thinking, actually, this is easy and I feel good and I'm enjoying it. That is actually a better testament to fitness than numbers sometimes. But
it's when you can do your long, easy run and you can carry on with the rest of your day without feeling achy and sore, and feels great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, no, great start tomorrow. And I think that leads us nicely into Mel. So.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought it'd be Julia next. That's fine.
She's last. God, no.
That's fine. No, it's been all right. I obviously had my mental block, lack of motivation for about a week. I think there's just so much going on with work that is just mental stress, which just, I even told my dad, who I'm partner with, I just got no motivation to go out, and I think it's just everything being on there. But then doing, what was it, one of those, I think it was the last tempo run last week, and then doing the fastest 5K I've done anyway, I was like, oh, I've got a bit of motivation again now. I can do this. There is improvement. Force myself to go out, and actually I surprised myself, given that the session before I just hit the wall in the second interval at the same pace as the longer tempo run. And I just surprised myself on the Thursday, and I was like, oh, I'm still going. And I couldn't do this 2 days ago, but I was in a better headspace as well, which was good. But I'm certainly seeing improvements.
Yeah, I think you've had a really good month, and I think, yes, you had a wobble, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not going to be a massive thing. I think the learning that everyone can take from there is, one, I think the group was fantastic in their support for you, but from an individual basis, it's about learning when it is time to actually, do you know what, I don't need to put my trainers on today.
And actually, I think it's to do that. I think it's abnormal to really want to be out there running every week for over a year or whatever, just really wanting to be out there and go. That's just not normal. I think we all have those times we think, oh, just a race is in 8 weeks time, and you think, oh, just want to rest. I don't want to have to go out again. And
we live in this age where people see things on Instagram. Yeah, people see things on Instagram and Facebook, and they think everybody enjoys every run at every time, and that's not necessarily true. I mean, as I say, there is time to put it back and stay home, but there are other times where you think, actually, I need the discipline to go out. But it's about getting that balance. And I think you got it right, and sometimes forcing it is what you need, but also it is the wrong thing as well. So it's a really hard one to weigh up and challenge yourself, but I think you got it right. But
as you say, it's that balance of maybe taking a few days of just going, you know what, I've decided 4 or 5 days, I'm not going to do it. And then forcing yourself to go out. Because otherwise you just it's easy to make those excuses to still not go back out.
Absolutely. And I think John had an example this week where he couldn't run Wednesday, and then you were going to run Thursday. And we actually re-looked at it like, actually, no, you're better off running Friday and still having your 2 days off together. Just making sure things work properly rather than just making things happen for the sake of making things happen.
That was quite handy, actually, James. I've got DOMs from my core session, and I'm on 2-day DOMs at the moment.
In that case, get out.
Tomorrow, 20 minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Now, really, really good month, man. I think you're going to have a good run at the weekend. So I look forward to seeing that. And then Julia.
I'm going to try and do it while I've got some quiet. Can you just eat your grapes? Yeah? Yeah. No, it's been a bit of a mental month, but I had 2 weeks where I just didn't really have the ability to get out, but this week feels a lot more doable, so I'm really enthusiastic. Like, I'm coming with it. Like, you saw, James, I was like, I really want to add in more into my week, and you're like, stop chasing it. So yeah, it feels I don't feel like I've lost too much fitness, but I think I've probably lost more than I wish I had. But yeah, I'm quite excited for the 5K just to see what I've got in the legs. I don't really know how to pace it, but yeah, I'm just going to go out and have fun. I'm going to do it on a canal, I've decided, so I've got no hills whatsoever. But yeah, running's definitely a bit of an escape at the moment. So yeah, I'm in quite a good place with running, and trying to Yeah, that's fine. You can have one more. So yeah, feeling good about it, but I think it's going to be a bit of a logistical challenge to fit everything in. So really trying to prioritize the good one. Yeah, good go.
I mean, I think you've balanced where and what you could very well. And your enthusiasm at the moment is fantastic, as everyone could probably see and hear from you. But again, talking about moving things around, like I did have to tell Jude at the start, to be like, whoa, slow down. Because as much as I want to push you all out the door and get you going hard, it's about balance. We've said that a couple of times now, so just get things right. Like if anyone misses anything or does something, don't try and chase it. That's the same as trying to run easy runs faster. Like it's not going to work. At the end of the day, we can only control what we control, and what's been has been, and we move forward. And you know, your bigger goals aren't this week or next week, so we still have time. Everything's in the right order, so relax and take it. So, and actually, the 5K comes at a good time for you. So, the reason the 5K is there this weekend is the majority of you have now been sort of 2 to 3 months into the block. Tomorrow, 6 weeks. So, it's a good opportunity to have a bit of fun, have a bit of see where we're at, but pressure free as well. Like this is not anyone's target race on Saturday. Like, so it is a bit of fun. There's no medals. There's no you failed, you've succeeded.
No medals.
Sorry, yeah. Maybe a little chocolate one somewhere. But you know, like for John recovering from his marathon, I'm sure he'll be itching to see where he is at. Sorry, Hagar, I know you won't be having yours just yet, but yours will come. And yeah, like you'll all have your own journeys and your wants and whys. So that being said, let's have a little talk about Saturday and how we're all going to attack and pace it. So first of all, do you all know where you're going to run, if it's a park run, or what route you're going to do from home, or how you're going to do it, all those logistics side? Because what you don't want to do is, if you're doing a time trial, is turn a corner and there'll be a hill you didn't expect, or a closed road, or I don't know, any other random thing that could happen. So does everyone know what they're doing, where they're going? Cool. Right. So 5Ks are hard. Yeah, we all know that. Penny, you've raced a 5K recently, and I'm sure John definitely has, and a few of you have done tempo runs and stuff. Right, what is the common thing that will happen to all of you in the first half a mile, kilometre?
Go out too fast.
Go out too fast.
Maybe, but what happens to your body? What normally happens?
Oh, you'll tense up and you won't relax. You won't relax, so you won't get your breathing right.
Close.
Heart
That's
goes
pretty
from
much
0
what it is.
to 100, not literally, but yeah, heart just goes up.
Yeah. Cool. So all of you will, even if I say don't, will go off faster than you want to go off. Okay, it's natural. It's fine. It's 5K. You're going to attack it. Then what happens after about half a mile, a kilometre? Your heart rate's going to go high, as John said. Your lungs are going to be going like the clappers, and you're going to think, "Core, I've panicked." So first thing we need to do is, how do we prevent that? Anybody got any ideas? And it's not going off slower.
Warm up.
Warm up, definitely it. So at the moment, when you're doing your warm-ups, you're going out for 10-15 minutes jog and you're doing your drills, then you're starting your session. Who starts their session a little bit out of breath, heart rate probably quite high, and got a bit of a sweat on? And it does. That's good. Okay, that's the right thing to do. If you start the run with your heart rate already elevated and your lungs already working, you're not going to have this spike at 800 meters to a kilometer. Now, I don't want you to start the race tired or knackered like you finished the session. But the best way to do this is, so do your 10-15 minutes jog as you would do. Start nice and slow, but towards the end of the jog, just up it a little bit, not to tempo pace or interval pace, but just comfortable. Then when you're doing your drills and your activation, ramp them up essentially. So do your more static and slower ones at the start. And as you're going through, do your high knees, do your heel flicks, do your skips, but do them with some purpose and some intent to really get the sort of movement going. And then literally the last thing before you go to the start line, or your own start line, what it may be, 2 or 3 strides that you do on a Saturday anyway, 15-20 seconds, walk back, really get the full motion of the body. So that's going to have your muscles and your cardiovascular system warmed up, and also give you a really good opportunity to be mentally prepared and mentally in the zone. So it's not a case of, my body hasn't run this pace yet. It has done just for a few seconds, and you're going to be prepared a lot more. Does that all kind of make sense to everybody?
It does. Can I just ask something though? It's like when you go to parkrun and they do the talk, you're all standing around for like, 5 5 minutes. Does that matter if you've warmed up and then you've got to stand around and wait for the talk? Does that matter?
Be rude. Carry on doing your drills. Do your strides. Okay. You don't have to stand there and listen to it. It's nice to stand there and be with everyone, but sometimes when we're running, we've got to be a bit selfish. And Saturday, you want to do your time trial, you want to have fun, so go and do what you want to do. So if you've been to Denham, you know where the start is. You know you need to be there at 9 o'clock. You don't need to be at the briefing. I'm sure if there was any parkrun directors here, they'd be cursing me saying, yes, everyone to the briefing. But do what you need to do. You're going to be safe, and that'll be my advantage. Okay, cool. So that's that hurdle, hopefully, cleared. Right, so as we all know, we're all going to go off a little fast, okay? It's okay, I'm expecting that the first 800 meters a kilometre. Do that, it's fine, as long as it's not sprinting and stupid fast. For me, 5K is all about the first 3.5K, 2 miles, because the last mile, you're going to look after yourself. That's going to be head over legs. So what we really want to focus on is what happens between 1K and 4K, okay? How are you going to zone into that bit of hurt? How are you going to get into the tempo zone? How are you going to embrace and overcome anything that may be obstacles? Anybody got any ideas of what they tap into? Think back to your tempo runs when it starts hurting and you start becoming familiar with it. Breathe in, yeah. As well, John touched on it earlier. We're not going to force our body through. We're going to think about our stride. So when we get a bit tired, knees up a little bit higher, reach out a bit further, legs flicking up behind us, go to your arms, pump your arms and flow. Anyone seen Philly Bowden's YouTube recently? Obviously this is about marathon, not 5K, but the importance of smiling. Philly Bowden. Philly Bowden. She talks about the importance of smiling when you're in pain, which I think Kipchoge spoke about quite a lot as well. So what does your face do? Are you going to screw your face and grit, or are you going to relax and head up, posture tall, enable your stride? Yeah, cool. Another good tip of that is when you're running, who clenches their hands like that when it gets hard?
I've been told you'll be able to hold a crisp in your hand.
Yeah, you've got it. So basically, it's a natural thing for people to do. You're pushing, you're tensing, you're going to tense your arms, your hands. What happens there is as you tense your fists, that goes up your arms, it goes into your shoulders. As your shoulders tense up, you're going to curve your back. If you're rounded over, you're not going to be open and allowing yourself to run free and strike properly. So as Mel said, hold some crisps, don't break the crisps. Yeah, and that'll really help you. So loose hands, loose, keep everything good. And yeah, just enjoy it. I think naturally, if we're all going to be going as hard as we can, mile 1 will be your fastest. Mile 2 will be slightly slower. So then it comes into the end. This now all becomes individual because aerobically, you've got yourself here. So this is the bit that hurts and the bit that you have to decide, I'm going to be stronger, because everyone here and everyone elsewhere, head will give up first. Okay, so for John and Penny, you're going to be going down the long straight at Denham and you're going to look up and you're going to think, God, that is miles till I turn right. That's negative. But how can you approach it differently? Is it about looking at the one person in front of you that you want to overtake before you look at the next person? How do you break it down? Because I promise you, your body can go further than your head can. So what you really need to do is over the next day or so is think about how you're going to feel at the end. You're going to feel proud of yourself, but how are you going to combat the part of you that says, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to hurt, because none of us want to hurt, but in a weird way, we're runners and we're all a bit sick and we all do want to hurt. And that's why we're here. And I think there's nothing worse than 5Ks and 10Ks are the worst for it. Getting to the end and instantly, because you're going to recover quite quickly, thinking, I gave up a little bit there. And you will kick yourself for that. And it might only be for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. But regardless of what the watch says, if you are honest with yourself and you think, oh, I gave up a little bit there, or I gave in, or I bottled it, you're going to be more annoyed with yourself. So try and challenge yourself as to how you can combat that and how you can embrace and enjoy it. Because when you're in that moment, that pain's going to feel very acute and it's going to feel like the only thing going on. But 2 or 3 minutes later, when you're finished, it's going to be gone and you're going to have forgotten about it and you're going to think it wasn't that bad. So how are you going to how are you going to combat that? I can't tell you the answer to that because that's all very individual. But that's where we're at. When you finish, can I also make sure you all, one, enjoy yourself, get your time, make sure you all do a warm down, okay? You've all got a short or long run on Sunday, but still, if you don't warm down, you will hate yourself come Sunday. And again, with the warm down, opposite to the warm up, if you start a bit fast, that's fine, and wind it right down. If it ends in a walk, cool, no problem. Just bring everything down, bring everything to a smooth run. Does that kind of all make sense in the run? So essentially, first K, do what you want, as long as it's not too stupid. In the middle, rhythm is the word we're looking for. Yeah, flow, feel good, feel light. And then essentially, the last mile or the last third, that's when we're racing. That's the part we race. Yeah. That sound kind of what everyone had in their mind of what they wanted to do, or to clear it up?
Pretty much.
Let Fiona in.
I was thinking back then to the podcast that you and Katie did when Katie didn't want to overtake someone to be nice. So it's just like in my head, I was like, no, you need to just go.
Yeah, cost her a trophy.
Oh yeah, of course it did. So yeah, so when I always have a running list as well, and I time it for ish the 5K. So the last part of it, I've got some really the rhythm of it and the songs are what get my mind in to do the last straight. I find that's always really helpful because on my part run, it's the figure of 8 loop twice. So like as I'm going past and halfway, like the elite ones are finished. So I need something to make my head go, it's fine, don't look there, keep going. So I find that a running list with some really key songs can keep my head in the game for the final part.
Perfect. John, you're a bit more experienced in 5Ks. What do you tap into at the end? What do you think when you've had a good run you've used?
Well, literally with the last mile, for instance, I try to almost continue it a little bit from what I've been doing in the rhythm section. So I'm one of these people, I'm very data driven, but I count my strides almost like a drum beat, kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And normally when it really starts burning, I kind of have that thing of, you've got a minute, deal with it. I've just like, just kind of give myself those kind of like, you've got 60 seconds left. Worst comes to worst, if you blow up, you've got a minute 30. As in just saying, you've done this before. This is nothing. You've run marathons. You've done, it's going to hurt, but in a minute's time, you're going to laugh it off and go like, oh, that was great. Yeah. Or you can look back and say, oh, I could have pushed that a bit further.
I think it's just segmenting it, isn't it? And thinking, oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, there's only another
breaking it down.
Do this for 2 minutes. Or to be fair, what I normally do even with my runs is if I've got it on my watch, I actually put it on my phone, the Strava on my phone as well. And then Strava on my phone, well, they'll tell me in my headphones what my pace actually is. So I'm not looking at my watch. Then it gives me a really good idea that, oh, look, I'm actually on track here. This is going for a PB. I can do this. I'm at 3K. I've done 3K. I'm on track here to do the best I've ever done. That just motivates me to keep going.
I probably can talk to myself as well. I think I actually do a genuine, probably when I'm really, really dying at say 4.5, I'll do a real kind of come on, kind of like, but as if I'm shouting at somebody else. I think I'd probably do it out loud as well. Which is probably a bit ridiculous, but that's just because
if that's what works for you. I think, Mel, just one thing to be careful with pace. I think there's a few of you here that will surprise yourself. So just don't let anyone hear a pace or see a pace that's too fast and think, I must slow down. Because if you feel right, if you're in the right rhythm, then you are right.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't slow me down. It would just keep me motivated to keep going.
Yeah, perfect. But I like what you said then as well, because if you get to 3K, well, you're going to make it to 5K, aren't you? That's perfect.
It's the motivation that gives to me when it's like, and I think that's what happened with the tempo last week. I had it in my headphones. I was like, hang on a sec. I'm actually keeping pace here still. How's that go? I can do this. I know I haven't got that much further to at least do the 5K bit, which is why I really pushed myself for it. And I'm sure I could probably actually go faster.
I'm sure you can as well.
But I think a lot of it is
100%. Over many distances, but 5K especially. Like honestly, when you guys are all hurting at 4K and you think the world is ending and you can't possibly run another K, you all can. Like, absolutely you can. It's only your
I think
head
I'm
that's telling you
probably
you can't.
most worried. Well, for me, I've never actually just gone out to just do a 5K and see how fast I can go. So actually, I have absolutely no idea what sort of pace to try and aim for. I don't even know what I'm even capable of without
Well,
blowing
it's
out
gonna be your
fully
P- it'll be your
blowing
PB
up, and
regardless then.
who knows?
Whatever
I think
happens, will be
again, perfect. John's got it. But also, just remember, don't worry about pace, effort. Like, you will all be floating on the red line very early on, because that's what pushing yourself 3 miles is. But it's about at what point can you allow yourself to tip over that red line, and that's probably not until you've got a mile left or 2K. Do you know what I mean? So it's just about floating there, and that's what the tempo training hopefully is teaching us, where to just sit on that balance. But also, tempo is in the middle of a week where, so again, the pace is going to be slightly different. You're all going to have had 2 rest days. You're all going to feel a little bit more motivated, whether you're doing your own time trial or whether you're a park run. You'll all feel there'll be something about Saturday. You know, you all know you're in this together, so that will get an extra 10% or so out of you. So again, don't be surprised by your watches. Is anybody feeling like overly anxious than they usually would do? Is everyone kind of, I think everyone should feel a bit anxious but excited with it, and like, you know, it's not a big deal, it's not the big race, but you know, it's exciting, and it's the first sort of test, isn't it, of the first few months. Good. Even Fiona, how are you doing? Are you good?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Sorry, I'm late.
No worries. You still had a run to do, unlike the rest of them.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I don't have 2 rest days.
Well, you have a marathon. I mean, Penny does as well now. But how are you feeling for Saturday? Obviously, you've ran a 5K before. From bits you've just heard that you signed into, do you relate to them, or have you got any tips for the guys?
I hate 5Ks. I don't like being in pain, so I'm not looking forward to it. But we shall just see how it goes. No I'm not putting any pressure on myself. So
no, don't put any pressure. It is all about fun. There is no winning or losing. Do you know where you're going to go? You're going to park run, or are you doing it on your own?
Yeah, I never usually do park run. I think I've only done like 3 park runs. We don't really have anything super local here, so I'm going about 35 minutes out the road to the one that's most local to us. I've done it once before. It's quite flat, so hopefully being in amongst other people will help, because I think if I just do it where I stay, I know all the 5K loops, and I think that gets in your head a little bit. Like, I know exactly what time I'm going to hit at what point when I'm usually training on that. So I think it'll be good to go somewhere different.
Good, I like it. I like your style. So how's everybody else feeling other than 5Ks? How's everyone's training going? What are they looking forward to? What are they getting on with or not enjoying at the moment? So as everyone's just getting on really well, which to fair you all are.
Can I ask, James?
You certainly can.
You know, some of us are signed up for the big half in September.
Mm-hmm.
Are you subconsciously training us for that as well?
So most of you have a half around then, whether it's Great North, Oxford, or the big half. So basically, we're all building up towards halves for September time. Yeah.
Well, I don't need to worry about that. You're just going to do it with us, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I'll do the worrying. You just do the running. In fact, yeah, if you can stop doing the worrying, then I'll do it. That'd be perfect. Me, yeah. We fly back week, 2 weeks before, something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Coming down to sea level, flat. Hopefully, that's the theory.
Just don't worry about those cobbled streets around East London.
Fine. There was less cobbled this year, I think, than the year before. I think a bit more now.
I hated them. That's where I died. That killed my race last year.
That's not even halfway, John.
I hadn't done, yeah, but I've never done it. Hang on a minute. I went past you not long after that.
I had a really bad day.
Yeah, well, it wasn't good. No, that's cool.
No, we're all good for the halves. No, I think everyone's getting on really well. So yeah, what this does actually, Penny, is this is kind of like the perfect break now, having a bit of speed work. Then, as you can see from the plan, we then basically want to capitalize on this, and this is where the tempo work becomes really important, because being able to hit that sort of 10K and half marathon threshold is what's going to take you into the big half feeling strong. As it goes for long runs will go up to maybe 2 hours 15, but you won't need to worry about the distance as such. Like, you'll be fit and you'll be strong for that. So yeah, I'll have everything ready for you. But as we get a bit closer, we will get a bit more specific, but all good. And you're on the bus as well, aren't you, to the big half, Penny? So any last minute briefs?
Yeah. Wendy's coming. I'm bringing Scarlett, my daughter, as well.
Perfect. Is she running?
She's running, yeah.
Good stuff. Are you on the bus, John? Or
yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I am. Is it buses this year, or are we going for those little mini cab things again?
One bus.
Yeah, but it'll be a bus though, will it?
Yeah, an actual bus. I think there's a 35-seater, so that's fine.
Okay, so it's not going to be us trying to find the taxis at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and navigate our way through London after having a few beers.
Yeah, I think that might not have helped, but hey.
It was part of the day, isn't it? Yeah. Just a quick question actually as well, kind of in lieu of what Penny's saying. So obviously most of us are kind of working towards halves as well. When it comes to later in the year, straight at the start of next year, presumably that's when there's going to be a bit of a divergence between what people are training towards.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on how we as a group, or whether we're going to kind of split into other things like Marathon Academy? I don't know for what, because I mean, I'm marathon training Christmas onwards, I guess.
Yeah,
in my mind.
We'll see how the group evolves. Like the Marathon Academy that's going ahead now, we weren't actually going to do, then we decided to do, and then it was only Fiona and Libby done it, so we've kept that all together here.
Okay.
Like, I know Penny obviously is doing London now. She's very much fundamentally part of this group. So if this group didn't change, I wouldn't want to say, Penny, out you go because you're marathon training. So we'll just have to see. I can't really make an answer right now.
No. And again, it was just me thinking. I'm always thinking ahead, so I'm just. I'm trying to plan
fundamentally, the structure of the week wouldn't massively change for someone like in the winter, because for even the guys that aren't doing a marathon, your January, February training is sort of your dog work, as it were. And the things that would change would maybe be like, for example, Fiona still had a tempo today before the 5K on Saturday. When you're marathon training, your tempo might go up to an hour rather than 40 minutes. It might be 10 knots of 3 minutes on a Tuesday at a slightly reduced pace compared to 3 minutes at a harder pace. So it's very transferable anyway. But we'll look at that. What marathon are you thinking? Manchester, was it?
I'm Manchester in for my BQ. I'm calling it out there on my BQ.
Good.
Make myself accountable.
Mel, you talked about marathon a lot in the group. Are you still staying away from it? Because it sounds like you're talking yourself in.
I really want to, but I think I might have to wait another year when my youngest will start nursery in January at the school that my daughter will be at or is at. And so he will be gradually building up his days and be in nursery for another year. And then all of a sudden I think it will end up being the following year. So not this spring coming, but this next spring, I think is when I'll have the time, because he'll be at school for more days. Yeah. And I can then switch things and even do maybe a long run whilst they're at school.
Yeah. It's very easy to think Sunday must be long run day, but that's not necessarily the case, is it?
Because I know I was marathon training for London. It impacts a lot on family life, and you end up trying to do your long runs really early, so then at least your 3-hour run is only made when the kids have been up for about an hour and a half or 2 hours rather than anything else. But it's just a nightmare fitting it all in and fitting every single run in, because the runs do just get longer and longer. All the runs are longer.
Yeah. I mean, fair play, because when I do a long run on Sunday, it wipes me out for the rest of the day. I'm no good for nothing, so looking after a child and things.
Oh, it doesn't help. Whereas actually doing the half marathon, I was saying to my husband even earlier, doing the half marathons and actually spacing them out over the year, if you concentrate on getting your half marathons faster, then actually your marathon time should get faster anyway as well. So you're still working towards that. It's just,
Absolutely. Everybody, as and when they move on from this program, or we moved up to marathon, like this program is for 5K to half marathon, but that is going to build the strength. And ultimately, if you've got a faster 5K, you're going to have a faster 10K, which is going to lead to a faster half marathon, lead to a faster marathon.
And I know my ultimate aim, which I've said before, is I'd love to get a BQ. And I know Julia really wants a BQ as well, having never done a marathon as well. But that's the ultimate, which would be amazing to get that, and that's a goal that I want to achieve at some point. I know it's not a goal I'm going to achieve next year or in 2 years' time probably, but I think I'm on the right path of going that way.
Absolutely. And
even
training is about layering and stacking blocks upon blocks. It's not about going, I want to do a BQ next spring, because actually, you say you can have years and different races and different blocks, and it's all going to build your strength, which is fantastic. And as we saw from the ballot results today, Boston qualifiers or good for age times, excluding Penny, the way to go.
I say get the BQ and you get your good for age for London all the time.
That's it.
It doesn't work the same for men for that one. That's the BQ's easier to get than the London GFO.
I was surprised about looking at the female. I think the good for age is like 340 or something.
It's not even, but that's another conversation for another time. I'm sure that could.
It needs to be fast, but that's like the slowest. But it needs to be fast in that. But the BQ is like a lot faster than that.
Boston also goes up in 5-year increments.
Yeah.
Which probably works better for me because I'm in my one of my decades rather than later part of my decades.
How are you getting on switching on to marathon training, Fiona? We had a little recap of the month before you signed on. How are you getting on? How's your month been?
Yeah, fine, I think. I find these I don't know what it is, but since going to marathon training, I'm finding the tempo runs harder than when I was doing the other training. It's obviously all psychological, but now I'm finding the tempo runs really, really hard.
Okay. Maybe marathon training means a lot of tempo running and you're dreading them, but just again, one of the things we're saying at the start is just remember tempo running is all about flow. It's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and really the pace on your watch isn't the be all and end all, especially right now. Your race isn't this weekend, it isn't next month. So just learning how to tap into that effort zone, tap into that heart rate zone, and just become efficient at it. That's what's going to help you along the line. Essentially what we're trying to do with a tempo run is we can get to a certain threshold where our body is still cleansing itself of lactic acid. If we push too hard, our muscles are going to fill up lactic acid. We're essentially going to stop working. Threshold or tempo running is at that point where we're still efficient and still basically cleansing ourselves as we're going, not literally ourselves, our muscles. And that's what's the same for a marathon. If you go to that point in a marathon where your muscles aren't recovering while you're moving, you're not going to get much further. So it's about just pushing that effort and just holding it there. And week on week, month by month, that threshold will either become faster or allow you to go a little bit further.
Yeah. I've started doing the strength and conditioning stuff again because I fell off the wagon. So I went back to the gym on Sunday, and I think I've had DOMs all week. So I'm hoping that's going to ease up with the more sessions that I'm doing in the gym. So we shall see. Because it really helped me get my half marathon time down last year doing strength and conditioning. I definitely think that's what helped me get that time down. But I've fallen off the wagon completely for so long. And you always dread that session back in the gym, the first one. And I paid for it.
Yeah, and you did exactly what I did when I was back in England. Your comments like, I try not to push too hard because I didn't want to get DOMs. And then 2 days later, you still get them and think, that's not fair, but that extra 5 kilo or an extra little bit and doesn't feel like it at the time, does it? And John was mentioning he's got DOMs as well at the moment. So
2 days.
Shaking his head.
Horrible.
But it will get easier and you will get stronger. And later down the line, when the training or the weight training, strength training can ease off a bit as you're hitting the peak mileage and you're getting ready, it'll all be better and you'll be, injury resilient, your form will be better, you'll be running smooth, and these DOMs will be distant memories.
Definitely.
Apart from this call's recorded, so you can watch back and yeah. How's everybody else though? Everybody looking forward to next month beyond Saturday, beyond the 5K effort?
I am. Sorry, I've managed to ditch my child for 2 seconds so I can actually contribute. Sorry for the chaos. But yeah, I'm really excited for next month. I'm still just really enjoying the plans coming through. Are you, when you're doing all the plans, I was going to ask, if, because I've missed those 2 weeks, do you kind of look at that and go, oh, I'll reduce a little bit of what's like the tempo, or are you still going to push? I'm kind of, that I'm hoping for the push answer, but
So the plan will go in monthly and I'll look at it, but when I go in daily and weekly, I will adjust or just like message you individually and go, just like I did this week, like do not do an hour on Monday, do 40 minutes. Likewise with like John last week, I played with his mind and said, cover your watch up and do this and do that. And that's how it works. So the plan will be there as it is, but I will speak to you and just make sure you're on the right track and everything's going well. But likewise as well, I'm always here if you feel that you're not being pushed hard enough, or you feel that it's a bit of a stretch, or life and stuff like that. I always ask the question. That's not a problem. And
I'll let you know after this 5K. I think that's the. I'll say whether it needs to go back down. Yeah. But thank you.
Well, I think the 5K. I think you're all going to surprise yourself. So there's not one person I look at and worry about. So good things to be had.
So James, can I just ask, will that be the same for going on holiday? Because I go on holiday in 12 days to America, and I'm not in one place, so I'm sort of traveling around a bit. So God knows what I'm going to do in the 2 weeks. I feel like a bit of a shame, because I feel like I've really sort of done quite a lot in the last month, 6 weeks, whatever. And then it's like, now I'm not going to know what I can do over those 2 weeks, really. So do I just...
Yeah, that's fine. When we're a bit closer, talk to me about what you want to do or what you can do. And they're sometimes one of the same, they're also different. And then essentially what you do or don't do will reflect what you do afterwards. You're not just going to have 2 weeks off and go straight back into the plan. But, sometimes holiday presents itself with the time to train. Other times you might just not want to train. You might want to enjoy time with the family. So, that's your choice. What I don't want you to do is commit to, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And actually you can't do that, because then you'll feel like you're failing or letting yourself down. And that's not actually the case either. Like we'll make it work.
But yeah, and I don't know some of the areas either, so it's like I don't know. And of course, going out on my own as well, I've got to be a bit careful as well in new areas that I've not been. So yeah.
No, definitely. As it gets a bit closer, drop me a message and we'll have a chat, and we'll just do what's right, whether it's adapting stuff to hotel treadmills or having rest or whatever it may be, or we'll work something out. There's always a way around.
James, can I just ask a quick trainer question? Your favourite?
Certainly. Yeah.
So obviously Saturday I'm going to go fully race kitted up. Obviously, I've got my 10K on Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of alternating for the kind of racy kind of efforts between my vapors and my streak flies. Would you wear different ones on a Saturday and a Tuesday, knowing that basically you're going to run your ass off and destroy them, or would you try and pick one and stick to it?
I would go for vapor flies for both.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I like the streaks, but yeah, they're not as good. They don't have that same.
Streak flies are fantastic training shoes, and
that's what I'm finding.
Absolutely.
Intervals and stuff, but they're not race shoes. Yeah.
But again, when we talk about finishing and having regrets, you don't want to finish. Go, would I have been 10 seconds quicker in my vapor flies?
Yeah. But I mean, you would race on a Saturday and a Tuesday in the same ones, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Sorry, my dog's yapping away.
He's saying vapor flies too.
You won't go alphas. No, I'll go vapors. Vapors twice, that's fine.
Yeah, perfect. Everybody else looking forward to the month, all ready to go?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Right, well, everybody enjoy rest day tomorrow. Make sure you're fueling up well for Saturday morning. Remember the bits and pieces we talked about. Fiona, one of the things you would have missed is just make sure you guys warm up quick, hard. So when you're about to start, body temperature's up, heart rate's up, so you're not going to get that spike in the first kilometre because you're shocking the system essentially. Go and enjoy yourself. Go out too fast, as we all will do. Hang on, get the rhythm right, and then last mile is you versus your head. Don't let your head win. And then when you finish, you'll get the time you deserve and want. Okay. And then afterwards, I might share with you my predicted times, and we'll see how close it was. Cool. Right, guys. Everyone have a fantastic night. Enjoy rest day, and I look forward to hearing how you all got on Saturday.
Good luck, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.